May 17th. What happened at the Black Mesa that day? Nobody believes it was a meteor strike. People have seen things. What was the American government trying to hide while destroying a research facility with a nuclear bomb? Who was responsible for what happened to us? All these mysteries and conspiracy theories lead to Black Mesa for the beginning of everything. We have been dominated, exploited, sterilized. Our minds have been dominated, and our genetics have been modified. The opposition has been murdered. Those who bow have been turned into slaves. A power so great that the human mind cannot comprehend made us all bend the knee. A civilization built in the span of tens of thousands of years has been destroyed in just 7 hours. We are not even insects for them. May 17th. What happened at Black Mesa that day? Who is responsible for what happened? Did Black Mesa invite them to Earth? Before all these went down, what was the thing the American government was trying to sweep under the rug? Why did they bury Black Mesa under New Mexico? Will all this remain a mystery to mankind?
It takes your mind again. Exile. It takes your mind.
Black Mesa, the world's largest secret research facility, built in the New Mexico desert during the 50s at the height of the Cold War, almost as big as a medium-sized city. This facility includes a hydroelectric station dam and a nuclear reactor to provide its own energy. It has rocket launching ramps, a train network, and even its own newspaper. It also has multiple social facilities to create a livable environment for employees and their families. At this point, it could be misleading to name Black Mesa as a mere research facility. Black Mesa can be named as a fully self-sufficient supercomplex, completely insulated from the outer world. Because the facility is a secret settlement, people inside are not allowed to leave. This means that Black Mesa does not only have the responsibility of scientific research, but also must oversee the life standards and social life of its employees. Facility employees, while being divided into two main divisions, as science and security personnel, the facility also has administrative personnel, service personnel, and families of some of the employees that work at the social facilities. Black Mesa, under the management of Wallace Breen, also employs the famous Harvard graduate, Professor Eli Vance, and Isaac Kleiner, author of the book From Here to There in Under a Second, who is respected for his article titled Next Level of Quantum Physics. Arne Magnussen is also one of the important scientists of Black Mesa. As a matter of fact, Commander Barney Calhoun, who would later become one of the figures that leads destiny of humanity over the following years, was also working at the facility as a security guard in early 2000s.
Oh, hello. My name is Dr. Eric Sigurdsson, Head of Weapons and Materials Research, here at the Black Mesa Research Facility. Our first-rate associates have always designed, developed, and manufactured specialized equipment for an amazing array of advanced scientific disciplines. But don't take my word for it. Let's see what one of our many satisfied business partners has to say.
Thanks, Doc. The Navy and Marine Corps needed a weapons system that offered single target force projection that allows an operator to eliminate a threat at an extreme range. The XVL-1456 meets those particular requirements, and then some. Thanks a lot, Black Mesa.
Of course, all this research would be useless if we couldn't test our weapons properly. Thankfully, Black Mesa has a variety of decommissioned areas that we have been able to repurpose for our needs. From outdoor storage sites to temperature-controlled indoor facilities, we can provide testing in almost any environment imaginable. At Black Mesa, we continue to deliver the future.
Down. Shutting down. It's not shutting down.
Black Mesa develops applied sciences to research all sorts of disciplines, funded by the American government. This facility does significant work for high-technology weapons manufacturing and the defense industry. But this was not the major reason why Black Mesa was held in the middle of the desert, isolated from humanity. From the day which this facility was established, its major aim was to achieve interspatial or interdimensional matter transfer. And after years of work, this aim was indeed achieved. They have discovered a technology which we as humankind were not ready to know and experience yet. Extra-dimensional material transfer. In colloquial speech, teleportation. Even though their inventions were working in theory, they required a cost, which resources of Earth were not enough, since they needed unbelievable amounts of energy. But if they could reduce the cost of this energy, on one hand, it would mean that humankind would not need to build primitive vehicles, such as automobiles, planes, and ships. On the other hand, they could conserve energy and be wherever they wanted, whenever they wanted. Even rockets would not be needed for space travels, which are impossible because of the vastness of the creation. The astronomical magnitude of the universe would be at a step's length for humankind. Bringing the most valuable resources of the universe to our planet would be easier. Earth would be richer, and humankind would take great steps to become a first-class civilization on the Kardashev scale. The only obstacle facing Black Mesa was reducing the cost of their inventions. Extra-dimensional portal technology led by Isaac Cl3nr required exotic matter with negative mass each time. Even though they had managed to synthesize this material through their research at the facility, the machinery they used demanded immense power sources, leading to unbelievable energy consumption and an astronomical cost. When Black Mesa understood that the exotic matter which is needed for extra-dimensional travel technology can barely be synthesized in our world, and they cannot continue their projects this way, they have decided to use their teleportation technology to search for this matter all over the universe. They have searched the universe. They went even beyond the observable universe. And unknowingly, they have made their second major discovery. They went beyond our universe while searching for this fuel and discovered a border world. This border world, which they have named Zen, was a celestial body cluster among the stardust of the nebular void, with asteroid-like floating islands and living creatures. Zen, which had oxygen and water, had a very rich ecosystem, and it contained numerous life forms and a new element, which consists of the exotic matter that the scientists have sought for years: Zenium.
Carbon stars with ancient satellites colonized by sentient fungi. Gas giants inhabited by vast meteorological intelligences. Worlds stretched thin across the membranes where the dimensions intersect. Impossible to describe with our limited vocabulary.
Zen had a rich ecosystem. Living creatures that we could describe as flora of this border world had a more organic look when compared to our world. These creatures, which scientists called Zen-tree, even though lifeless like a tree, could react fast to the outer threats like a tentacle. Most of Zen was filled with massive types of fungi, some of which were unseen on Earth. It owed its colorfulness to glowing strange plants that the scientists called light stalks. Zen's strange flora was generally sensitive to the environment. It had floating creatures we would call space rays. This border world, which contained strange leeches in its waters, was home to many wild animals which scientists could never describe but referencing their homeworld. Bull squid, one of Zen's most aggressive creatures that has acid in their organs, colored Zen's ecosystem from huge space bugs called snarks to huge piranhas called ichthyosaurs. Zen had a colorful ecosystem. The three-legged dog-like creature, whose head contained many eyes with vertical eyelids, was named Houndeye by scientists. It was one of the most intriguing creatures for Black Mesa. Reason was that it could resonate sounds which could scare its enemies thanks to its high-pitched voice. Its behavior, interestingly enough, reminded them of dogs. Another closely reviewed Zen species was the barnacles. They could hunt with their tongues hanging from the roof, and they had a faster digestive system than any life form on Earth. Their names were Cirripedia donaldsonia in literature. This name was coming from the Black Mesa professor, Lewis Donaldson.
Was being the first to discover barnacles, was also the first victim of this species on Earth. Black Mesa, alongside extra-dimensional material transfer, started to research Zen. They have performed numerous autopsies on the creatures they had brought from the border world. They have tried to understand their nature and evolutionary process, but still, their research was founded for teleportation technology. Therefore, their focus had to be it. By using portals that they have opened repetitively, they went to collect crystals from Zen caves as fuel. Personnel they sent were equipped with both scientific and military skills. These personnel who trained at Black Mesa Hazard Course brought many Zenium to Earth. Those personnel that went on a trip to bring back Zenium could barely keep up with Zen's dangerous ecosystem. This border world, which is full of dangerous animals, caused the death of a couple of scientists. After a long struggle, humankind managed to defeat Zen to an extent that they could have a place for their scientific work. They have built science bases there. They now possessed limitless sources. Teleportation became usual for Black Mesa. Humans started to run wild at Zen's border world. They were collecting resources for portal device while investigating Zen creatures. But this huge step that they have taken was not enough for the scientists of Black Mesa. They were blinded by ambition. Crystals named Zenium were single-use only. They ran out fast, even though the discovery of Zen accelerated Black Mesa's research. It was still insufficient to make teleportation a technology that humankind could use in daily life. They have searched through the entirety of asteroid islands, but could not find the material that was pure enough. Zen's wild flora did not allow scientists to enter wherever they wanted freely. Zen crystals were made of a combination of matter and exotic matter. Crystals needed to be analyzed perfectly before being used, and Black Mesa was using a large device named anti-mass spectrometer for this analysis. This device analyzed the chemical order of molecules and rated them on an atomic level. Anti-mass spectrometer worked by scanning electromagnetic waves and high-energy plasma rays that emerged because of the quaking of exotic matter. With this, it was possible to observe and manipulate the energy waves needed for teleportation. Crystal samples brought to a test room by a lift and pushed inside the machine by a wheeled vehicle. This event became routine in Black Mesa. Zen crystals would be exposed to this process, and this process would be repeated multiple times in a day. One day, a very suspicious event happened. Black Mesa Administrator Wallace Breen came up with a highly pure crystal named GG3883. It was the purest crystal that they have seen so far.
This crystal was nearly entirely made of exotic matter, and it would give Black Mesa employees so much energy that they would not need to fight against the wildlife and Zen to bring back crystals.
This crystal was given to Wallace Breen by a mysterious hand, a peculiar, morose, and pendant man that nobody knew where he came from or who he was. No record included his name. A sinister bureaucrat. That day, only 2 people saw him.
One was Wallace Breen, who took over the crystal. The other was Dr. Eli Vance. The sinister bureaucrat had told Eli Vance just before the experiment.
Prepare for unforeseen consequences.
The flap of the butterfly's wings that decided the destiny of many civilizations was his doing. Man who sees and shapes time. No one ever learned who he was.
May 17th. What happened at Black Mesa that day? Nobody believes that meteor nonsense, and you know that. We wonder who started all this. One of us? What did the government hide? Did we invite them? Perhaps they found us. We did not expect them to be peaceful, but how could we resist an empire which leads universes? It only took 7 hours. If Breen had not agreed with them, they would have eradicated us by now. They are among us. They have turned Earth into an animal farm, and we are being milked like cattle. They rule over us, right next to us. They see everything, but we have never seen them, and we do not even know who they are. What kind of a power is this? Who invited them? What happened at Black Mesa on May 17th?
Scientists were impatient to test this pure crystal that was given to them by the mysterious figure. The entire facility got together to work on this crystal. A theoretical physicist and recent MIT graduate who studied under Isaac Kleiner, Gordon Freeman, was chosen to insert the crystal into the analysis machine.
Freeman, late to work for half an hour that day, put on his HEV suit to protect him from radiation. On the morning of May 16, 2003, all Black Mesa personnel started to work to witness perhaps the greatest experiment in human history. Freeman entered the sheltered room where the anti-mass spectrometer was being kept and started the experiment. After he entered the test room, he went to the control panel and pushed the button to start the rotors.
Scientists, defeated by their curiosity, did not follow the procedure and set the ray resolution to 105% instead of setting it to 90. This way, they could have more information about the crystal. To make the machine work at such high power, security systems had to be turned off. Freeman did his duty and pushed the crystal into the chamber under the scientists' curious looks. Crystal's purity made it unstable. Overloaded spectrometers' powerful rays damaged the crystal structure, and the experiment concluded with a negative reaction called the resonance cascade.
The high levels of exotic energy that manifested ruptured the fabric of space, creating an aggressive rift between Earth and Zen. After a sudden explosion, the purity of the crystal started to open portals first on the room that it is in, then on the entire facility. After the powerful explosion, the experiment room became unusable. Scientists tried to turn off the machine, but they failed. Many security and science personnel lost their lives in this explosion. May 16th was the day of the incident that decided the destiny of humankind and many different extraterrestrial civilizations. Portals that were randomly opening and closing started to teleport Zen creatures to the facility. These creatures from Zen were not even aware of their location. With that fear and confusion, they have started to attack everything that they have seen. Many scientists were killed by Zen wildlife.
Things got out of hand.
And when it got to a point where it could not be controlled anymore, the American government sent HECU, a special military task force, to Black Mesa. When soldiers arrived, countless personnel were dead, and many parts of Black Mesa were unusable. When soldiers informed their superiors about the gravity of the situation, they got a whole new order. To cover this incident, they were asked to kill every single living thing in that facility.
That day was a day of shame on the history of humanity.
Many of the Earth's most important scientists were mass murdered, along with their families. People hid to the depths of the facility to not be eaten by space creatures or killed by soldiers. The US government described what happened as an event of sabotage and terror. Freeman, who put the crystal into the chamber, was declared a terrorist ringleader. Soldiers that had the orders to exterminate every living creature in the facility were quite surprised about what they were seeing. Battling alien life forms they had never seen before. The soldiers became extremely aggressive under the sheer shock of the situation. Even though they had the upper hand in the beginning, they have failed. The reason was that the surviving personnel had a lot of places to hide in this city-sized facility, so it was not possible for soldiers to exterminate all of them. And because of the portals from Zen opening constantly, alien life forms that soldiers were fighting seemed countless. Their numbers reduced over time. When their troops disbanded and their ammo ran out, they stopped fighting and started to hide, just like the facility personnel. Right after this catastrophe, the American government sent Black Ops, a special task force under the CIA with orders to blow up the entire facility with a thermonuclear explosive. A great bomb for a great facility. Easiest and fastest way to sweep things under the rug. Freeman, surviving the explosion thanks to a suit of armor,
found himself in a three-way war.
The place was swarming with scientists that were being used as hosts by headcrabs, extraterrestrial life forms, and special task force soldiers. In this environment of chaos, scientists that were hiding in the depths were trying to stop portal rifts at the same time. Freeman, with the help of security officer Barney Calhoun, went to the Lambda complex, where the teleportation technology that was made for exploring Zen was invented. First, he sent a rocket to space to stop dimensional rifts, but for whatever reason, it didn't work. Scientists who were keeping on working to make things right said to Gordon that there was a very powerful and sentient life form on the other side of the portals, who was keeping the rifts from being closed. They claimed that this sentient life form at Zen was the one who was sending Zen wildlife through the portals. One less portal was opened to Zen at the Lambda complex to face this life form and to solve all these problems. Freeman traveled through the Zen wildlife. met with the mother of headcrabs, who were turning humans into mindless life forms, witnessed the magical view of Zen for the first time, and at the end, he reached the dangerous cave which Black Mesa researchers could not even get close to. What he faced was shocking. A creature which reminded a half-mechanical giant fetus telekinetically communicated with Freeman. This creature of Nihil-nth species was the last of its kind.
It used the crystals that the Black Mesa researchers were collecting as nutrition,
and it could create portals on its own body organically. With telekinetic powers, it could rule all Zen's creatures through one consciousness. It enslaved them all. But just like Freeman, it did not belong to Zen. It came to Zen to run away from an invasive race and to regain its power. And through the portals that it opened, it brought sentient species to Zen with itself and enslaved them using its telekinetic powers. Rather than going back to its homeworld and fighting against the invasive race, it tried to run away to Earth using the rifts. It was very angry at humanity because of stealing its crystals, but still, it only blamed him, sinister bureaucrat, mysterious one. It was very angry at that person who handed the highly pure crystal to humanity. It said that the mysterious one would trick humanity just the same. Freeman ended this creature's life using the high-technology weapons that were developed at Black Mesa. Before Black Mesa personnel could see the results of their fight, Black Ops activated the nuclear bomb and the entire Black Mesa got buried under the New Mexico desert. The American government announced on television that the explosion was caused by a meteor strike in the desert, effectively covering up the entire event. He was the reason for it all, the one who brought the crystal. Freeman met him. No one knows where and when. He was unbound by time and space.
The border world, Zen, is in our control for the time being, thanks to you. Quite the nasty piece of work you managed over there. I am impressed. That's why I'm here, Mr. Freeman. I have recommended your services to my employers, and they have authorized me to offer you a job. They agree with me that you have limitless potential.
Bureaucrat believed that Freeman had unlimited potential. He told him that he had spoken to his employers about Freeman. He mentioned that he wanted to put Freeman into a long-term cosmic sleep. If he accepted, Freeman would sleep, and when he opened his eyes, he would find himself in a different time. This would happen as fast as flipping a light switch. He said that this was necessary, and in return, he promised that the Earth would be fine. Freeman accepted. The mysterious one saved two more from Black Mesa explosion. One was Corporal Adrian Shepard, who was sent to the facility to cover up the events. The other was Professor Eli Vance's little girl, Alex. From the Black Mesa, where thousands of scientists were working, only 11 made it out. An investigation into the diary of Corporal Adrian Shepard, found in the aftermath of the Black Mesa incident, reveals that the events were even more mysterious than they seemed.
March 3rd. Another typically hellish day at base camp. I'll be glad when this is over and I can get assigned a mission. There's been this really weird civvy spotted at the base. Rumor is he's from some government branch looking to recruit, or others say he's with some secret research group. I would jump at the chance to join. It'd be cool just for the change and the adventure. March 7th. Finally saw the government guy today. I am not sure he is a G-man, but he was wearing a really uptight suit and carrying a briefcase. It looked more like a lawyer or insurance agent to me. I did notice him checking me out. Several times throughout the day, I spotted him just watching me during training. Wonder what he's up to. March 9th. For weeks, our drills have been the same crap day after day. Today, we assemble for the morning run, and our drill instructor tells us we have 1 week to become experts at indoor strategic combat. We will be spending every day this week at the combat simulation facility. As far as I know, this is a specialized training not taught in boot camp. What I want to know is if this is to test our ability to adapt, or if we're being readied for a specific mission. Time will tell. March 12th. The rumors have been flying since our indoor combat training began. Most of my peers are convinced that we are being primed for a mission. No one can agree on what the mission is. I've heard the name Black Mesa Facility thrown around a lot, but I have no information about the place. The rumors are that some top-secret research is going on there. Doesn't sound too exciting to me. March 15th. The rumor has been confirmed. We are being trained for a mission at the Black Mesa Facility. All I know is that the place is being used by scientists who are doing some kind of new research. I can't imagine what we would be needed for. We were told today to be ready in case it happens tomorrow. I don't know what it is, but the whole thing is a little strange. I kind of hope it doesn't happen. The mission doesn't seem to have much excitement potential. I'd rather hold out for something with more likelihood of combat.
Moving from what Corporal Shepard wrote to his diary, it can be seen that the mysterious one was at the military forces camp on the 3rd and the 7th of March.
And the training for Black Mesa operation started on the 9th of March.
Which means that the events that were going to take place on May 16th at Black Mesa were known to both the bureaucrat and the American military forces.
For years, we have investigated the space, wondering if there were any other life forms but us. When our technology got to a point where it could draw attention, they found us. We should not have meddled. Our mind is our curse. Science brought this upon us. When we invented fire, we should have just put our back to a rock and rest. Now it's too late. They care now. We are worth exploiting.
Black Mesa was history. The portals opening to Zen did not stop. With this, the experiment caused a new catastrophe called portal storms on Earth. These storms ruptured the fabric of space, caused destructive and magnetic shockwaves. Accompanied by a whistling sound, these storms caused devastation wherever they struck, inflicting deep damage on structures like bridges and buildings. The entire world was shocked by these catastrophes that they were witnessing for the first time. At the same time, these portal storms sent the universe a message of Earth's civilization's capability of researching portal technology. This new catastrophe and wildlife from Zen were hurting both the Earth's ecosystem and human civilization. Many countries were on the brink of economic crisis. Governments were trying to find a solution while trying to give meaning to all those events.
Markets are in turmoil this week as governments, corporations, and aid organizations struggle to make sense of environmental conditions, a breakdown in global communications, and massive loss of life. After a precipitous drop in stock values, most major markets are now closed until further notice.
Previous attempts to explain the storms have varied, with explanations ranging from the meteorological consequences of climate change to clandestine scientific experiments. There is a little consensus on any of the unprecedented events.
Witnessing the unknowable. No pattern has been discerned for where or when a portal will open. Portal storm continues.
Stay calm, indoors, advice experts. Nobody yet knows what this all means for our country and for humanity. All we can do is stay safe and be with our families and local communities. said Dr. Rebecca Heaverly, Professor of Behavioural Science at Brown University. Rash behaviour is likely to have unforeseen and undesirable consequences.
Scientists remain unable to offer any solution to the ongoing portal storm that has devastated cities worldwide, nor are they any closer to determining how to predict when new portals will appear.
Federal emergency response officials encouraged citizens to rely on their own existing food and water stockpiles before making use of government food banks set up in recent days, which are already suffering from crippling demand.
After a precipitous drop in stock values, most major markets are now closed until further notice. Millions are going without fresh food as existing food supplies sit idle, unable to reach their destinations due to disrupted supply lines and a lack of coordination. If the situation continues, experts warn preventable deaths will occur. In a statement yesterday, the Securities and Exchange Commission said it does not expect trading to resume in the United States for the foreseeable future, given extreme global uncertainty and instability.
Then the worst thing that ever happened to humankind happened. A superior civilization, which humankind called the Combine. They have seen the portal storms happening on Earth, and after what happened on Black Mesa, Earth culture and technology was now open to the universe. For the extraterrestrial life forms that we were searching for years, we were now worth noticing. They have found us. This ancient civilization, which came to investigate Earth's technology and exploit it because of the portal storms, could not see the portals or technology when they arrived on Earth. They were disappointed. If they knew the Earth civilization was so primitive, they wouldn't even come. They wanted to exterminate Earth civilization and exploit its natural resources, then leave. The UN declared global mobilization. All of the governments across the globe joined the war with their strongest weapons to protect the planet's future. Massive armies, most advanced weaponry and nukes were used. But Combine armies didn't even feel a thing. Even our strongest weapons were as primitive as throwing rocks with a sling to them. None of the life forms the human armies encountered were similar to one another. Every enemy they encountered had a different physiology. This made it harder to know the enemy, and made the war harder for humanity. They have crushed the entirety of countries, governments, and humans like trash. We weren't any different than insects for them. Their power was so disproportionate that humanity's attacks didn't even tire them. They didn't even come to war. They have sent different species which they have enslaved or allied with. The extra-dimensional empire that they had built was so great that perhaps they didn't even know they were invading a planet right now. War only took 7 hours. Human civilization, which was built over the course of thousands of years, was eradicated in 7 hours. This was a shame for humanity. Humankind named this war 7-Hour War. This name gave humanity some credit, because for the Combine, this wasn't even a war. This was a spring cleaning following the standard procedures. Every single city, except a few that were missed their radar, was destroyed. Billions of humans killed. Very few remained for humanity. The American continent was erased from the map. Survivors migrated to Eastern Europe. If the war would take another hour to finish, the Combine would be done with their spring cleaning, and the human race would be extinct. But right at the end of the 7th hour, something unexpected happened. Former Black Mesa Administrator Wallace Breen saved the entire human race.
The question that the Prime Minister is asking, the people, the whole world, Wallace Breen, who are you?
Decades spent on the cutting edge of theoretical physics put Dr. Wallace Breen in a unique position to negotiate a sweeping multinational surrender to the extraterrestrial invasion force known as the Combine.
When Dr. Wallace Breen, administrator of a little-known New Mexico research facility contacted UN officials claiming he had determined how to communicate with the invaders, there was no appetite for resistance. Breen was given carte blanche to negotiate for peace at all cost.
What do we know about this guy? We know that Breen was not elected by parliament, not by referendum, not by a popular movement. Who and on what basis put him in charge? Does Breen negotiate with the Combine and serve them? We don't know, unfortunately, much more.
Breen managed to communicate with the Combine after a long effort. He tried to convince them that the human civilization wasn't primitive. He spoke about what happened at Black Mesa and the teleportation technology. If only they would give humanity time, they could have made extra-dimensional material transfer technology for them once more. He pleaded for time. The Combine Empire accepted this offer from Breen. Because they had nothing to lose, Wallace Breen signed a total surrender treaty with the Combine. The war ended. The Combine built a whole new order on Earth, and Wallace Breen was seen as the representative of humanity.
Earth surrenders. Negotiated by obscure scientists, unconditional global surrender to extraterrestrial invasion force follows days of unexplained deadly phenomena.
Unlikely negotiator of peace garners ill will and distrust as well as praise. Wallace Breen acknowledges detractors. I'm not a politician, I'm a scientist. Critics have accused him of rank opportunism, selling out humanity after simply being in the right place at the right time. Breen himself offers only a token rebuttal.
On behalf of hundreds of national governments, the United Nations has ceded the entirety of the planet Earth, with all its states and peoples, to the extraterrestrial invaders dubbed the Combine.
No politician indeed, and that's the problem, argues David Ransoman of the University of Eastern Colorado's Political Science Department. With no claim to any constitutional democratic mandate, Breen has essentially legitimized an interplanetary coup.
The surrender halted a withering worldwide assault that yesterday claimed untold human lives in mere hours.
Given the data and the extreme nature of the situation, I took the only possible course of action, he said in an interview televised last night. Those who know me and my work know I'm not a politician, I'm a scientist. Those sympathetic to Breen say the military realities of the unprecedented assault rendered traditional notions of democratic legitimacy irrelevant. Any ability to communicate with invaders outweighed issues of governance, said retired General Stanley Thorberg, a former commander of NATO forces and a frequent defender of Breen in the days since the ceasefire. As a result, this person known as Dr. Breen surrenders the rule of our planet, which is governed by hundreds of governments, to an unknown species.
My name is Dr. Wallace Breen. I'm here to talk to you about a very serious and dangerous matter: science. Science can be wonderful. It can feed us. It can heal us. But it is also a weapon. And in the wrong hands, human hands, it has been proven deadly. As time passes, truth can deform into myth and myth into lies. So let me reiterate the truth. The arrogant men and women of Black Mesa are directly responsible for the near destruction of our world. And yes, to my shame, I was among those men and women. I tried to stop them, but they refused to listen to reason and logic. It was their human science that triggered the resonance cascade. It was their human science that opened the Zen portals, that unleashed the Vortigaunt horde upon us. The horrors that still overrun North America, the Zen infestation in the quarantine zone, are all because of their human science. Our world was not equipped to deal with monsters. If it were not for our Combine benefactors, the entire Earth would have been lost. Yet Yet those same individuals who beckoned those horrors into our world fought the Combine, resisted them, and began the so-called 7-hour war. Humanity bit the very hand that came to help. And because of that, it was necessary for me to negotiate Earth's complete surrender. I am not a man of faith. My God is reason and logic, and through those we must conclude and understand. Science is a temptation that leads us unto destruction. It is the one sin that can truly damn us all. Human science is not outlawed to punish us. It is outlawed to protect us. Let us help the Combine to help us. Thank you, and thank the Combine.
Individual, you are convicted of multi-anti-civil violations. Implicit citizenship revoked. Status, malignant. Attention protection. Status invasion in progress in this community. Response. Isolate. Inquire. Citizen reminder. Inaction is conspiracy. Report counter behavior to a civil protection team immediately.
After the 7-hour war, armies dropped their guns. Most of the human race was murdered. Surviving civilians took refuge in the remaining cities to avoid falling prey to Zen wildlife. Most of the human armies were taken to Combine camps to be modified.
They were modified in a way to keep the species' superior properties in direction with a Combine purpose. Soldiers and civilians were modified differently, depending on their different properties. With these soldiers that were transformed using cybernetic technologies, a transhuman army corps named Overwatch was formed.
Be wise. Be safe. Be aware.
Overwatch soldiers, once human, became the new military and police force on Earth for the Combine. The Combine withdrew the alien forces that they had used to invade Earth back to use on other conquests because they did not need them anymore on Earth. They left the control of the world to the human forces they had dominated and modified, transformed by transhumanist methods such as genetic bioengineering and cybernetic chips. The Combine soldiers were modified to increase their combat abilities. With the brain and chest surgery, soldiers that were modified by various mechanical devices implemented to the throat and near belly started to roam the surface, incapable of feeling pain and with no memory. They did not question orders. They applied them with no emotion. Their vocal cords were replaced by radios for communication. This way, whatever they are speaking could be heard by other soldiers at the Combine base. The food requirement, one of the weakest points of humanity, was also removed from Overwatch soldiers. They satisfied their energy requirements with the hoses on their body from cell batteries and the energy panels on the walls. Of course, there were people who joined Overwatch with their own will. They were affected by Wallace Breen's propaganda and turned their backs on humanity for the promise of a better life, good food, breeding simulations, title, power, and family bills. Civilians who joined the Combine with their own will were not transformed by biotechnical technologies. They just wore uniforms and formed the police force. Those who did not accept to surrender to the Combine were amputated, using the harshest, merciless surgical methods to be turned into slave workers called stalkers. Their digestive systems were removed to be replaced with artificial organs that meet their energy requirements by a nutrition solution applied via gastric board. Their faces were ripped off to be replaced by metal plates, which resemble a horse blinders to block their three-dimensional vision. 2 small holes in these plates barely let the daylight through. Stalkers could only see what was in front and close proximity to be focused on their work. Their vocal cords were entirely removed. They were given the minimum amount of nutrition, just enough to keep them alive. Earth was divided into 17 zones based on the surviving cities. Cities were surrounded by huge walls. Civilians were numbered as prisoners and were put in uniform. Railways were built for transportation between cities. City 17 was chosen as the capital, and a 3.5-kilometer-long massive warpland named the Citadel was built at the center. This citadel both housed Wallace Breen and served as the facility where military weapons and modifications were engineered. The Citadel was also a building which ensured communication with other cities. With the dark energy fusion reactor it included, it could also ensure transportation to the Combine universe. So, the Combine armies, even though they had returned to their homes, were still a step ahead of humanity. They could swarm to Earth via a portal from the Citadel. The Combine didn't just transform the living. They could create replica vehicles while combining their technological power with humanity's engineering. Razor trains, which ensured the intercity transportation of prisoners, and hunter choppers, were examples of uniting human design and the Combine technology. Armored personnel carrier, which the Combine police forces used frequently, is also another example of these vehicles. They mostly ensured travel through the air. Combine dropships, which the Combine created modifying different species, were the most frequent air vehicles used for the transportation of vehicles, guns, rations, and soldiers. Another biotechnical hybrid, called the Combine Gunship, was a half-organic airstrike vehicle, which was modified to be suitable for high maneuverability, contrary to its human technology counterpart. This was the Combine culture. They turned the living into tools. Armored drones, called the city scanners, observed the city all time and collected resources by photographing suspicious situations. They roamed the streets all the time and photographed interiors of people's houses through their windows frequently. With this, another observation tool for the Combine was the Striders. Striders, which were the greatest ally of the police force, were 13 meters long living watchtowers. The Combines created these towers by biologically replicating a life form on one of the planets they have previously conquered. Therefore, they were not a modification of an existing species, half organic, half mechanical, and almost entirely a Combine invention. It was a great threat to the opposition in the city, with the weapon it had in front of it. Its field of view was also wide, thanks to its height. They have imposed a birth control method, named the suppression field, to prevent the human population, which took a huge hit during the war, to pull itself together. They prevented the creation of a protein chain, which was needed for embryo development, and sterilized humans. This suppression field, created thanks to the Citadel, didn't just sterilize humans, but also suppress their sexual impulses. Therefore, few humans who survived the 7-hour war were also the last examples of their species. They could either watch their species go extinct or join the Combine and become a simple tool for them to reach their purpose at the end of the day.
Let me read a letter I recently received. Dear Dr. Breen, why has the Combine seen fit to suppress our reproductive cycle? Sincerely, a concerned citizen.
Thank you for writing, Concerned. Of course, your question touches on one of the basic biological impulses, with all its associated hopes and fears for the future of the species. I also detect some unspoken questions. Do our benefactors really know what's best for us? What gives them the right to make this kind of decision for mankind? Will they ever deactivate the suppression field and let us breed again? Allow me to address the anxieties underlying your concerns, rather than try to answer every possible question you might have left unvoiced. First, let us consider the fact that for the first time ever, as a species, immortality is in our reach. This simple fact has far-reaching implications. It requires radical rethinking and revision of our genetic imperatives. It also requires planning and forethought that run in direct opposition to our neural presets. I find it helpful at times like these to remind myself that our true enemy is instinct. Instinct was our mother when we were an infant species. Instinct coddled us and kept us safe in those hardscrabble years when we hardened our sticks and cooked our first meals above a meager fire and started at the shadows that leapt upon the cavern's walls. But inseparable from instinct is its dark twin, superstition. Instinct is inextricably bound to unreasoning impulses, and today we clearly see its true nature. Instinct has just become aware of its irrelevance, and like a cornered beast, it will not go down without a bloody fight. Instinct would inflict a fatal injury on our species. Instinct creates its own oppressors and bids us rise up against them. Instinct tells us that the unknown is a threat rather than an opportunity. Instinct slyly and covertly compels us away from change and progress. Instinct, therefore, must be expunged. It must be fought tooth and nail, beginning with the basest of human urges, the urge to reproduce. Let me assure you that the suppressing field will be shut off on the day that we have mastered ourselves, the day we can prove we no longer need it. And that day of transformation, I have it on good authority, is close at hand.
Drugs that weakened humans' memories were mixed into the city's water supply and beverages and soda machines. Using the massive drainage system, the Combine began draining Earth's oceans, transporting the water to other worlds they needed. Sea levels drained, ships hit the land. They started to exploit and distill the air in the atmosphere using the gas facilities they have built. They have distilled beneficial gases from the atmosphere and stored them, leaving only enough oxygen for humans to barely breathe. They didn't just loot the oceans, but the entire atmosphere. The Earth was now a place where humans could barely breathe. This destruction of nature broke the balance of the ecosystem. Many animal species went extinct. What's left was exterminated by the Zen wildlife and the Combine. Exteriors of the cities were filled with the Zen wildlife and had no life support. It was nearly impossible for a human to live outside a city. Humans were doomed to live in the cities that the Combine surrounded with walls, under their rule.
Unidentified person of interest.
Welcome to City 17. You have chosen or been chosen to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers. I thought so much of City 17 that I elected to establish my administration here in the citadel so thoughtfully provided by our benefactors. I've been proud to call City 17 my home. And so, whether you are here to stay or passing through on your way to parts unknown, welcome to City 17. It's safer here.
Protection Team. Status invasion in progress in this community. Response isolated.
Central City 17 was built on the remains of an Eastern Balkan country after the war. Survivors lived an inmate life with inadequate oxygen and a few amounts of nutrition. Combine rule, which followed an authoritarian regime, punished every human who didn't follow the rules harshly. Cities were divided into blocks internally. Everyone living on the block would be punished if anyone among them broke the rules. Therefore, society wouldn't want people who break the rules, oppress them, or report them to the Combine as a last resort. Megaphones were placed around the city, which contained the voice of an artificial intelligence. This voice, which was also connected to the Combine radio frequency, informed blocks or people about the given rewards or punishments, or informed the Combine about the rule violations. Punishments the Combine gave to humans were dependent on their crimes, whilst there were light punishments, such as reducing daily ration support. On hard oppositions, they would amputate humans into stalkers. The Combine used this harsh punishment system on its own soldiers too. After a failed operation, they could be punished with mutilation of limbs, memory deletion, or ultimate exile from Earth. The Combine police force were rewarded with natural nutrition, sex stimulations, and family bliss in return. From monitors, which were all around the city just like megaphones, Wallace Breen published propaganda streams. Sometimes he answered the questions from the public. Walls in the city were filled with propaganda posters. Some of these posters were designed to shape the public opinion on the Combine. Some belittled human mind and science. Some held human science responsible for every catastrophe that happened to humanity. They weren't entirely wrong. After the Nihilians' death, the Vortigons that had their free will back stood on humanity's side. The Combine saw this as a threat, so they put posters on the walls which explained that the Vortigons should be reported whenever they are seen. They used Vortigons that they had captured either to power their technology or assigned them to social duties such as cleaning the city. All communication networks between humans were cut. The latest news that the humans reached were the ones that were written on the newspapers found all around the city, such as The Times, The Terminal, and 7 Days, which were written right after the 7-hour war. The Combine exterminated nearly all animals on Earth, except one: pigeons. When the Combine learned that the pigeons meant peace for humanity, they turned that symbol into a propaganda tool for their dictatorship. For the Combine, pigeons were a symbol of peace with humanity. Pigeons in the cities were protected, and if someone even accidentally hurt them, including the Combine themselves, would be punished. Every human was numbered, and cities had counts frequently. The Combine police force, which kept the city population controlled, patrolled the city relentlessly and carried out raids to the houses of the opposition. In fact, they even made arbitrary raids to keep the public in fear. They did this to make sure that humans couldn't even feel safe in their own houses. They were ruthless, and because they had Combine on their backs, most were poisoned by power. The Combine played humans against humans, although amongst the Combine police force, it was known that there were opposition members, such as former Black Mesa security officer Barney Calhoun. The Combine built an extremely totalitarian and imperialist police state regime. Still, Earth was not of much importance to them. After all, they ruled 314 universes.
We should thank our benefactors for giving us respite from this overpowering force. They have thrown a switch and exorcised our demons in a single stroke. They have given us the strength we never could have summoned to overcome this compulsion. They have given us purpose. They have turned our eyes toward the stars.
The Combine. That's what the humanity called them. Because they weren't just one species. On an astronomical scale, they could be defined as interdimensional biomechanical virus. They were a hybrid species, made by modifying different life forms with advanced technology. The Combine's collective aim was to rule over an interdimensional empire on the multiverse. They did not belong to our universe. They observed the portal storms on Earth and came to our universe. On the Kardashev scale, the Combine was a level 5 civilization. They were above the stars and galaxies. They were using the resources that they have exploited for complex reasons that the human mind couldn't even comprehend. Explaining the Combine's aim to humankind would be as impossible as explaining the timber and furniture industry to a squirrel who is sad because its tree had been cut down. They were spreading through the universe like a massive parasite and followed different methods to exploit life forms that they have encountered, whilst they were adding the properties of these life forms, which were forfeited during the evolutionary process. They had also modified their weak properties via biotechnology. Through these modifications, which were made to achieve the Combine's aim, the life form's weak properties would be forfeited. But they would also have to live under the Combine rule. They have collected many life forms under their flag, so the Combine was not a species, it was a culture, which manipulated other life forms to achieve their aim. Via various bioengineering and artificial implementation methods, they have developed the technologies of the invaded species to create super soldier armies via modifying them, depending on the conquered planet's environment. Their administrative structure, administrators, or their species weren't known. They communicated with the species they have enslaved through larva-like high telekinetic creatures, named the Advisors. Even though the Advisors had high intelligence and telepathic powers, they were quite fragile. They needed protection and life support units to survive. Most of the time, they did not leave the Citadel. If they had to, they were carried carefully using protective pods. The Advisors, who ensured communication between invaders and their slaves, were the most authorized creatures on Earth. They have ruled over the war and politics on Earth behind the curtain through Wallace Breen. Breen called them the benefactors. He saw the Combine invasion as a blessing. He thought that we could never overcome such a great power, but we could benefit if we cooperate with them. He said the Overwatch soldiers which the Combine created via modifying the human body were the superior humans, claiming that this was the first time that humanity got close to immortality. To Breen, the Combine sped up the human evolution.
It has come to my attention that some have lately called me a collaborator, as if such a term were shameful. I ask you, what greater endeavor exists than that of collaboration? In our current unparalleled enterprise, refusal to collaborate is simply a refusal to grow, an insistence on suicide, if you will. Did the lungfish refuse to breathe air? It did not. It crept forth boldly while its brethren remained in the blackest ocean abyss, with lidless eyes forever staring at the dark, ignorant and doomed despite their eternal vigilance. Would we model ourselves on the trilobite? Are all the accomplishments of humanity fated to be nothing more than a layer of broken plastic shards, thinly strewn across a fossil bed, sandwiched between the Burgess Shale and an eon's worth of mud? In order to be true to our nature and our destiny, we must aspire to greater things. We have outgrown our cradle. It is futile to cry for mother's milk when our true sustenance awaits us among the stars. Therefore, I say yes, I am a collaborator. We must all collaborate, willingly, eagerly, if we expect to reap the benefits of unification. And reap we shall. Be wise. Be safe. Be aware.
Wallace Breen's brain was being backed by the Combine armies, with the hopes to find information about the interdimensional teleportation device, searched for Black Mesa scientists which survived the explosion, in order to copy the information on their brains. What they needed was the portal technology on Earth. The Combine used dark matter, which was incomprehensible to human mind for teleportation, not psanium like humans do. They made their teleportation process happen via a dark energy fusion reactor. Via this energy, they could open wormholes and make extra-dimensional jumps. But this energy didn't allow for teleportation on an astronomical scale, so the Combine could teleport between universes, but couldn't use the same technology to teleport between locations in the same universe. Therefore, they needed to use normal vehicles to travel once they have teleported to the universe that they would conquer. Still, the Combine did indeed invent intradimensional teleportation devices. But these devices caused users to jump not just in location, but also in time. So if you were to jump to a place where you could normally travel in 3 days via a vehicle, the device could send you a week into the future. In short, one thing that the humans had and the Combine did not was the intra-universal local teleportation technology. The Combine, to speed up its conquest, needed the interdimensional teleportation technology humankind discovered on Black Mesa, which was based on the Zen crystals. They had slowed down the Holocaust by sterilizing the few remaining humans, until humankind granted them local teleportation technology.
In the prison cell I sit, thinking, Mother dear, of you and our bright and happy home so far away. And the tears, they fill my eyes, spite of all that I can do, though I try to cheer my comrades and be gay. Tramp, 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 the boys are marching. Cheer up, comrades, they will come. And beneath the starry flag we shall breathe the air again of the free land in our own beloved home. Tramp, 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 the boys are marching on. Oh, cheer up, comrades, they will come. And beneath the starry flag we shall breathe the air again of the free land in our own beloved home.
Even though it wasn't possible to live outside the cities, there were people trying to escape from the system. Some went to the wastelands even though they knew they were going to die. Old water canals were used to run from the city. These people could not stand the Combine oppression, and because they had opposing ideals, other people from their blocks would oppress them because they were afraid to be punished. People who ran from the cities either died from starvation or dehydration because they were devoid of life support or were murdered by Zen wildlife. The Combine units and elites who were transformed from people who had good military education were frequently sent to missions out of the cities. Air vehicles made scans to detect Earth resources, hunt down the survivors. Hunters named Little Striders by the Resistance were sent to hunt humans in hard terrain, such as mountains and forests. These half-organic, half-mechanical creatures could traverse through every terrain quite fast, thanks to its flexible legs. It was one of the most dreaded types for the humans that hid out of the cities, because they were so fast that it was mostly impossible to escape from them. If they saw you, this meant you were dead. There were some secret intelligence areas and living quarters that the rebels built in the city's sewer systems. These were mostly small settlements that could house 1 or 2 people. Rebels listened to the Combine radio here and informed other allies about news and actions of the police forces. In short, humans built a secret news network. Combine used devices called the Manhack for the humans that hid in the tight places of the city, such as the sewers. Manhacks, which could easily travel in tight places thanks to their narrow and slim structures, would fly around and hurt anything on their way, thanks to the 3 razors spinning around them. These manhacks, which were mostly used in tight spaces, such as the sewers and fallen buildings, were tasked to mince everything on their way. City sewers and parts that were not handled by Combine was also dangerous for humans. Then wildlife was a threat also in the desolate parts of the city. Humans could get sick by outer world viruses, and even worse, strange mushroom of Zen could cause weird mutations. Rebel Larry, who was searching for alcohol in the booze factory, encountered one of these mutations in the factory. He named this creature, which was turned by spores, Jeff. Jeff's head was split in 2 from the middle, resembling a flycatcher, and a mouth appeared in between. This mutant, which spread spores everywhere, was bloated, and its eyes had gone blind. It moved depending on its hearing sense. It was the only example of its species, because Zen plant spores mostly just made humans sick. Of course, there are some zones which managed to survive out of the city with different purposes. Ravenholm was one of these. It was an industrial town with mines. In City 17, rumors started to spread between humans. A small town where denizens who fled the city had gathered. Perhaps they were not living in great conditions, but at least they were far away from the Combine oppression and free. The Combine did not even take the small resistance team in Ravenholm seriously in the beginning. They were not a threat to them. They solved this problem with an inhumane method at its root. When the number of people who fled to Ravenholm for refuge increased, and the resistance team in Ravenholm started to arm themselves, the Combine hit Ravenholm with a capsule named Headcrab Shell that is filled with headcrabs. Life in Ravenholm ended. All the rebels who ran from the city turned into zombies that writhe in pain. Combine used headcrab shells frequently and turned the outside world even more inhabitable. Headcrabs, which came from the Zen dimension, were a parasitic species. They caused the personnel at Black Mesa to go through great pain in the past.
My power was lost in places which were not mine. Affliction besought me, and the merciless ones attacked me without cause. Although they call me crazy, I care not, for thou art my helper, my strength, and my savior. But who is this? Another life to save? I am Father Grigori. You have already met my congregation.
Headcrabs were produced via a life form in Zen, named Gonarch, although a Gonarch that came to Earth from Zen was not detected. Combine managed to create an artificial breeding ground for the headcrabs by using the organs harvested from the Gonarch species. Headcrabs were a sexless species. Combine reproduced these parasitic creatures by genetically modifying them. They allowed for many different species to form by changing the genetics of headcrabs. Fast, armored, and poisonous headcrabs were the doings of the Combine. Headcrabs that could also traverse underground became a biological weapon of the Combine. Because they were a parasitic life form, they were taking humanoids as hosts, and they were turning them into necrotic mutant puppets by taking over their neural system. Headcrabs that could jump up to 3 meters thanks to their thin and long legs had a jawless feeding hole big enough to take a human head inside under them. This hole is surrounded by teeth. Inside their mouth there was a hidden hook system that helped them snap into human heads. This mutation, which is called the zombification process, starts after a parasite jumps into the head and snaps its hook into the skull bone. Once a head crab is snapped into the head, it is mostly impossible to unsnap it. Reaching the host's brainstem, the head crab releases enzymes from its hooks, causing a number of biochemical reactions, and it begins to control the host's brainstem and prevents other motor neuron activities from working. The brainstem is the part of the brain that manages the instinctive needs essential for the maintenance of life, especially nutrition. The host faints shortly after being captured. Upon waking, they find themselves now under control. Contrary to popular belief, victims do not turn into zombies as a result of this mutation, as head crabs do not damage the parts of the brain responsible for pain and cognitive function, such as the frontal cortex and parietal lobes, although the motor functions of the host act with the motivation of hunger. The person who is captured feels everything. Their consciousness is in place. In other words, the host, who started to share his own body with head crab, will continue to suffer until they die. Although they may not speak much due to the pain, it is often heard that they seek help. Of course, the transformation is not limited to this. As time passes, this new creature, emerging from the combination of two life forms, continues to complete its transformation. Deformations begin in the host's body. It cannot be fed because its entire face is covered. In order to meet the nutritional requirement, a vertical slit forms in the chest of the host over time. Its ribs separate and begin to act as teeth. This vertical mouth opening in the body of the host provides nourishment. The bones in his hand grow to be able to better grasp his victims, tearing his skin and coming out. All these deformations cause great pain to the host. Head crabs are filled into a capsule by the Combine and launched into human towns outside of the city. The most brutal biochemical weapon used against the rebels are head crab capsules. The Combine uses these capsules so often that the Combine soldiers, who often serve in out-of-town territories, are also victims of head crabs. There are different mutations of the head crabs produced by the Combine. Fast head crabs, created to catch the rebels living outside the city more quickly, have a flatter form and a dark color compared to the original type. The mutation it applies to the host is much different. Fast head crabs are the least painful to the host they attach to. Due to their high energy needs, they digest all the fat and muscle mass of the host and quickly kill them. Weak and skin-deprived host with a dead body falls under the control of the head crab. These zombies, unlike other species, are fast and can climb difficult places thanks to their claws. Another species is poison head crabs. They are the smartest head crab species. They make rattlesnake-like sounds, another feature that distinguishes them from other species in their hunting. They can wait and hide in the same area for hours to use the toxic venom they contain in their body on their victim. They then attack their prey at the most vulnerable moment, catching it. This species absorbs not only the host's brain, but also the spine. Toxic head crabs are the most painful to the host. They hardly affect the consciousness of the host. They stick to their host more than once and release their venom at certain intervals. The host's body swells and their skin begins to melt. Due to the excessive weight carried by the host, the spine begins to curve. Muscular and skeletal systems are damaged. The head and back of the host continue to be absorbed by the head crab until they die. Another type developed by the Combine is the armored head crab. It is covered with a hard shell to prevent it from being hurt by its prey while it hunts the hosts. The undersides are unprotected. The armored head crab, adhering to the host, causes mutations similar to the standard head crab. This species disappeared over time. It is possible that they were discontinued as they were deemed useless by the Combine and disappeared through the natural selection. Despite all this brutality, head crabs are an omnivorous species. They also feed on plants. Watermelons are their favorite food. and can be tamed by tooth removal, and are also the favorite food for humans and vortigons trying to survive in the wild. The taste of their meat is reminiscent of chicken meat. All but poisonous types can be eaten. There is another mysterious species known as electric dogs, runners, or revivers. Although their body structure resembles headcrabs, electric dogs are not considered a headcrab subtype. This strain is thought to come directly from them, but there are rumors that it is one of the combine headcrab mutations. Electric dogs, unlike headcrabs, have a tail-like touch and leather wings similar to flying squirrels. They can soar in the air. Their hearts pump electricity into their bodies, and their nervous system work in this way. It has a mouth with 3 jaws in front of it. Unlike headcrabs, they do not mutate people, but when they are afraid, they can radiate electrical currents to their surroundings to defend themselves. The most prominent feature of this species is that they enter the corpses that were previously transformed by headcrabs through the abdominal cavity and deliver high-level electric current to the corpse. This allows the body's motor functions to work again for a short time. However, the consciousness of the corpse does not come back. The electric dog is not in control either. This movement is a defensive action in electric dogs, intended to confuse their predator. Extra-urban lands were arid, oxygen and sea levels decreased, and the entire ecosystem was about to disappear. The greatest threat to the fauna in the outer lands was the antlion species dwelling in the barren lands. Antlions are the most common type of the New World ecosystem. The hard shells of the soldier antlions protect them from external dangers. The eyes of this species wandering under the sand are dull. While hunting, they follow the movement in the sand. This species, which usually roams in herds, has the ability to fly up a few meters. Thanks to its small wings, they hide behind their shells. It is meaningless to escape from the antlions on foot, or to take shelter in a high place, since they perceive the vibration of the soil. The best way to avoid attracting their attention is to never step on the ground. They relieve their hunger by means of the rebels roaming the wastelands or the Combine. Outside the city, the Combine used machines called thumpers to protect themselves from the antlions. Combine soldiers, who carried out their out-of-town missions received from the center, placed thumpers in their missions areas. These devices hit the ground frequently and with high energy, overloading the insect senses and driving them away. Cities were also protected by these devices in order to not let the antlions in. After hunting, antlions usually do not eat the corpses, but carry the body to their nest to feed their larvae. They live in underground tunnels that they dig like ants. These underground structures are built by worker antlions. Unlike the soldiers, the bodies of the worker antlions are not shelled. They have very sensitive and thin skin. Again, unlike the soldier antlions, their wings are not under their shells, and their bodies are lighter so they can fly. The most important feature of the larvae in the nest is that they can carry a yellow and bright substance inside. These substances both increase the natural energies of vortigons, and the Combine uses this substance in health support units. Combine often raids antlion nests to obtain this substance. Apart from that, it has been witnessed that the Combine connects the soldier antlions to the milking machines. Antlions have 2 protective types: inner guards and outer guards. Outer guards protect the perimeter and the entrance of the nest. The guards, which are quite large compared to the soldier type, use their hard-pointed head shells to strike the enemy. They can quickly coordinate antlion soldiers with the pheromones they secrete. Inner guards protect the nest and the larva. The combine who come to steal raw materials from the life support unit from the larva is often fended off by the inner guards. Although their appearance is similar to outer guards, they have phosphorus shells that illuminate the darkness of the nest, just like the worker antlions. Another Zen species most commonly encountered by residents of the New World is the barnacle. They are located outside of the city or in places not frequented by visitors, such as the sewers and ruins. Although they are not found in crowded places, they choose their hunting ground very well. Barnacles take their position as a young larva and, once developed, spend their entire lives fixed in the same spot, fed with the help of their toothed jaw and strong stomach acid. Barnacles hang their sticky tongues from the ceiling to the floor and wait for their prey to fall into their traps. Contrary to what is known, the stickiness of their tongues is not due to the sticky liquid they secrete through their digestive system, but rather from the tiny eyelash-like hairs on their tongues. When the prey touches the tongue, these thin, dense, and numerous eyelashes can harden and catch the prey. They suck everything into their mouths without distinguishing between living or inorganic substances that touch their tongue, and decide whether they can be eaten or not by their taste. If the substance they catch is in a form that can be eaten, they can digest it in a very short time thanks to their powerful jaws. They also leave behind substances that do not please them. Barnacles are simple creatures. They are not intelligent. Often hunting down a poisonous head crab or a worker antlion filled with acidic substances brings their end. There were also smaller centers in the wasteland that also housed rebels besides Ravenholm. Small intelligence centers set up by the rebels to listen to the Combine's radios were located in the water channels in the city. These canals, which were used to carry water to the city in the past, and the rebels used the complex structure of the canals for both transportation and hiding. The structuring established here for intelligence continued outside the city. Station 6, built on a water channel, was an out-of-town structure. Another intelligence center established outside the city was Station 7. Station 7 was set up on a farm located on the banks of the water canals and was tasked with assisting the refugees who fled the city through the canals, because the only way to escape from City 17, which was surrounded by huge walls, was the old water channels. Rebels greeted the civilians who fled the city here, and after providing food support, they directed them to human settlements in wastelands. Nova Prospect, a reconstructed version of an old prison with Combine technology, was also a structure located in wastelands. Civilians who created problems or violated rules in the city were sentenced here, experimented on them, or recruited into stalkers. Nova Prospect housed traders, in Wallace Breen's words. The prison also had a warehouse. Civilians who were turned into stalkers were distributed by trains from this warehouse to other cities to reduce the workforce. At the same time, this warehouse housed the Combine's only detected intradimensional teleportation device. However, this device was so useless that when it worked, it caused a high level of jumping, not only in space, but also in time. Another technology in the warehouse was the Combine Smart Barrier, algorithms of giant walls that roamed the surrounding area of City 17 were prepared in this warehouse. Walls consist of movable columns that can be moved according to the shape of the settlement and the engineer's request. Another out-of-town organization was the successor of Black Mesa, the Black Mesa East Research Center, founded 5 years after the 7 Hours War. This research center was located right next to the mining town of Ravenholm, where the rebels took refuge. Founded by the renowned Professor Eli Vance, who survived the Black Mesa explosion, this structure included Dr. Judith Mossman and many Vortigons. Alex Vance, who was saved from the Black Mesa explosion by the sinister bureaucrat, was also here, helping her father with his research. The facility, whose electric generators were charged by the Vortigons, also included a large kitchen and resting areas for the resident soldiers. It was a very secret base, and their entrance was constantly monitored by the CCTV cameras. Eli Vance and his team continued to do new research using xenium here. Their first aim was to invent a small teleportation machine and bring the rebels who wanted to escape from the city to outside the city, not by means of channels, but by teleporting them risk-free. Black Mesa East was also home to an artificial intelligence called Dog. The robot named Dog was made by Eli Vance. He designed the dog to protect his daughter Alex Vance when she was little. This little dog was also modified with new parts as Alex grew up. Dog also grew up with the little girl. Also in this wild world, Dog had become the only friend of little Alex. Designed using scraps of Combine technology and xenium energy, Dog's head was made with scraps from the city scanner. In his hands, he had an energy that manipulated gravity, again designed by xenium. Although this robot with its powerful body resembled the skeletal system of a gorilla, it displayed dog-like social behaviors. Designed to protect Alex as a child, Dog was now a close friend of all Black Mesa East residents. Without a doubt, Eli Vance's biggest invention after the interdimensional material transfer device was the energy field manipulator. This weapon, which manipulated gravity, contains the power of the Zen Crystal 2. Eli Vance had invented this device to transport hazardous materials used during experiments. But this invention broke off from its purpose after a while and became the toy of Alex, who was very bored among all these scientists in the research center. One of the former Black Mesa scientists, Dr. Arne Magnusson, on the other hand, initiated a different resistance structure in the wasteland. The Cold War base, which was bought very cheaply by Black Mesa, thanks to North America's budget and oversight problems, was now transformed into a research facility against the Combine under the leadership of Dr. Arne Magnusson. This facility, most of which is underground, had its own power plant. On Earth, it would house a hangar, radio tower, and silos built for intercontinental ballistic missiles. This resistance base also served as barracks for resistance soldiers. The purpose of this facility was to cut off the Combine's relationship with the Earth by closing the super portals that opened from the Citadel to the overworld via ballistic missiles. Vortigons were the biggest supporters of the Black Mesa East and the White Forest Resistance. After the Combine took over their own universes, their own kin, and Nihilanth fled to Zen. Nihilanth, whom Gordon Freeman encountered as Zen, was modified and further strengthened by the Combine with bioengineering technologies before escaping from his universe to Zen. Nihilanth, who enslaved all his skin with his telekinetic powers, including the Vortigons, was trying to escape to Earth with his kinsmen, who were exiled to Zen through the portal opened in Black Mesa. Nihilanth's attack on Black Mesa was actually a search for a new home. After Freeman ended Nihilanth's life, all the Vortigons were freed from years of slavery and gained their own free will, and they were grateful to the people for this kindness. They also chose Gordon Freeman as their savior. Some Vortigons even called Freeman the Messiah. They carved Freeman's heroic story on the walls, believing he would one day return and free themselves from the Combine dictatorship. In short, the Vortigons were the best supporters of the Resistance. Another small branch of the Resistance, unlike other structures, was in the heart of City 17. A small lab guarded by former Black Mesa officer Barney Calhoun was run by Isaac Kleiner, who also survived Black Mesa. Lab had a secret door that opened through a soda vending machine and was located in a fairly blind spot in the City 17. Barney, who voluntarily joined the Combine Civil Protection Force, was leaking insider information to Cl3nr. Again, thanks to this information, they were able to monitor the cameras that the Combine installed all over the city and disable certain security systems of the Combine. Cl3nr was working on teleportation technologies here. If successful, they would be able to teleport civilians who wanted to flee the city from the heart of the city to Black Mesa East, because using the water canals was very risky. The water channels were swarming with the Zen wildlife and the Combine everywhere. Cl3nr had a cat named Lamar, which he loved very much. When he completed this teleportation device, he performed his first experiment on this cat. But the experiment went awry, and after the device was turned off, the cat screamed painfully for a while and then exploded, spilling all its parts. Most of the cat's shattered body was splattered on Barney, who witnessed this horrible experiment. Barney had been away from the lab for a while after he had a brief shock. Cl3nr, on the other hand, got himself a new pet after this accident. His new pet was a head crab. He also named him Lamar. He loved, tamed, and bonded with his new friend like his cat. Cl3nr had removed the head crab's teeth, training him for a long time. He now only fed on herbs, and his favorite food was watermelon. Considering the power of the Combine on Earth, humanity's resistance did not make much sense. Resistance troops were formed shortly after the 7-hour war in response to the Combine invasion, aiming to destroy the New World Order. This structuring was infiltrating the Combine's Civil Protection Force ranks and smuggling weapons. Later, it acquired bases such as Ravenholm, Black Mesa East, and White Forest, moving civilians from cities controlled by the Combine to these settlements. The Resistance did not have a central command system, but it did have central figures such as Eli Vance, Barney Calhoun, Arne Magnusson, Alex Vance, Isaac Cl3nr, survivors of the Black Mesa explosion and commanders who led the 7-hour war. As such, Colonel Kubech were considered key members of the organization because of their experience. Resistance was divided into two areas, as war and research. Scientists like Eli Vance led the research section, while figures like Barney Calhoun and Colonel Kubech controlled the war section. Resistance was also supported by civilians in the city. Citizens of the City 17 were supporting the resistance by leaving food, weapons, ammunitions, and medical supplies in the secret areas of the city. Resistance was using Combine's technology, as well as repairing and making available human technologies such as radios, cameras, TVs, and computers. The Resistance preferred the lambda symbol as its logo, and perhaps their biggest advantage was the support of the Vortigons. The Vortigons were intelligent, wise, and highly experienced considering their battles with the Combine on their home planet. Vortigons working on the behalf of the Combine frequently leaked information to the Resistance, as they would communicate among themselves telepathically. It was impossible for the Resistance organization to attack the Combine directly, so it aimed to weaken its enemy with strategic moves. Resistance, which sprayed messages all over the city, also had tiny stations established in water channels called underground railways. Outside of the city, the Resistance often fought in hot combat or in a fire of harassment with the Combine. The Shore Point base, New Little Odessa, were the Resistance bases where the attacks were carried out. Although the Resistance took a bold stance, it wasn't even a threat to the Combine. Eli Vance's family lived in Black Mesa. Although his wife, Asian, died after the explosion, his younger daughter, Alex, survived. 15 years had passed since the Black Mesa explosion, and Alex was 19 years old. She was now fully working for the resistance. Combine had put its order in the world fully.
Wait, I just live here!
Probably anti-citizen.
Wait, don't shoot!
Area 64. Give us names.
Didn't steal anything.
Don't care. What did you see?
No one! I didn't see anyone!
Get it out and take him to the transport.
Dad! Hey, wait, no! Where are you taking me? Where's my father? Hello? Damn it, where's my father? Open the damn—
Tell her to stop moving around back there. What is that? What the hell? It's under the sea. I'm looking. I got it. Forward.
Alex, great. Okay, let's... Wait, my drone's okay, right?
Nope, it exploded. I'm fine, by the way.
Right, good. Well, that's the main.
Russell, they've got Dad.
I know. This is bad. They're gonna find out what he knows, and then... yeah, they're gonna kill him. But, the good news is, we've got something they don't.
Which is?
My plan to get him back.
Great. Let's hear it.
Now, pretty soon they're gonna realize that your dad is not gonna talk, and when that happens, he's off to have his brain sucked out.
Russell.
Potentially. Maybe not, though. I mean, they could just drill into his...
Stop.
Oh, yeah, still your dad. Right, well, what they will do is take him by train from here. This is Eli to Nova Prospect.
And if he gets on that train, that's it, right?
Not necessarily. Grab something that represents us. Okay, that's you.
I thought you said us.
Well, one of us, me, will have to stay here for this plan to work.
All right, fair enough.
Just outside, there's a second train that also leads out of City 17 through the quarantine zone. Both trains intersect here at Fairview Junction. You take your train, get there before his train, and hack into the controls. That'll let me take over the system. Train comes to a halt, you deal with the Combine situation, and we get your dad back.
Where's the train I'm taking?
Out the back, through the yard. It's decommissioned, but I think I can hack into its controls.
Got it.
Can do this, Alex. You got that, didn't you, that I said we could do it? Because we're gonna do it. I'm with you every step of the way.
The Alex fans. You received my messages.
I did?
Come. Enter.
Thanks.
You are welcome.
So, what's a Vortigaunt doing here?
Cooking.
Right, but I mean in general.
I have a brain injury.
Oh, I'm sorry to...
My brain is injured.
That's terrible, and I hope... Look, I'm actually pretty busy looking for my father.
The...
Eli Vance.
Yes.
The Combine have him, and I really do need to get moving.
The Combine. Yes. Do not go yet. I must show you something.
Look, I appreciate.
This way.
I can't stick around.
It is important.
I know, I'm sure it is.
The Alex Vance must go this way anyway.
Okay.
The Combine have other of my kin. Hell, like the Eli Vance. The Alex Vance will free them.
I would help. I really would, but the Alex Vance is honestly very busy saving her dad.
You will not save him. He is dead.
What?
Or he will be.
Is or will be?
It is a matter of perspective. But Alex Vance alone cannot prevent his fate.
Look, thank you for everything, but I really have to go. And I'm sorry, but I really don't have time for riddles.
No riddles. The Combine drilled here. I am severed from the vortessence. I am alone in my head.
I'm sorry. Look, if I can, if I run across your friends, I will see what I can do.
You have saved my kin.
I haven't.
Then you will. Courage, Alex Vance. I will help the Alex Vance. Look to the Northern Star for guidance.
Okay, thanks. Are you done helping?
I am not.
I'm over here, honey.
Dad, I'm coming.
I need help. Hurry. Hurry, baby. Hurry, I'm losing my grip. Help me up. Help me up.
Okay, I'm gonna reach out and pull you up. It's gonna be okay. You ready? Dad!
Alex Vance, I have come to help, as I said I would.
Thank you! Oh my god! Thank you! Dad, stay there! I'm gonna figure out how to get down to you.
No! Alex, listen! The thing Russell and I found is some sort of super weapon.
A super weapon?
It's something big. They got it here in the QZ in some kind of vault, but they're about to move it. Where, I don't know, but it's gonna be soon.
Then we gotta steal it before they do.
Yes! And look, I managed to pocket this Combine data pod. If I can decrypt it, we can figure out how to use their weapon against them.
So what's the plan?
You head to the vault. I'll take this thing back to Russell's and get to work.
Dad, where's the vault?
Look to the Northern Star.
Yes. Look to the star. Got it. Dad?
It's right in the middle of the QZ, and it's big. Get above ground and see what you can find.
I will clear the path.
Stay safe, baby. I love you.
I love you too.
I love you too.
With the help of the Vortigaunt, Alex rescued her father and made her way to the vault, a flying structure that was thought to carry the Combine's superweapon. The vault was a metal and sheltered structure above City 17, floating in the air with the energy it received from the enslaved Vortigons. Its enormous size and immobility in the sky made it look frightening. At the same time, the structure was highly protected by the Combine. Whatever weapon it had inside, it must have been very valuable to the Combine. This meant that it would work well for the Resistance. Alex learned new information on her journey to the vault. She learned that this huge and sheltered vault did not hide a weapon, but served as a prison for an important person who managed to escape from Black Mesa. Sharing this information with her father, Alex was almost certain that the famous theoretical physicist Gordon Freeman was in the vault. Saving Gordon from the Combine would both raise the hopes of the Resistance members and open a huge hole in the Combine's unquestionable power. The young girl arrived in the vault with the help of the Vortigons and the rebels. The sight she saw was shocking. Time and space deformed as she approached the cell in question, a place unbound by time and space. It did not seem to belong to the three-dimensional universe. Suspicions inside Alex grew as she got closer to the cell. Alex arrived in the cell, and with the support of Vortigons, provided high energy to the cell, causing the system to break down and the cell to open. The person who greeted her with a briefcase in his hand and a clean suit ironed with care was a completely different person.
Impressive work, Ms. Van.
The sinister bureaucrat was so calm that he seemed to know all that was going to happen. It was as if he had been waiting for Alex to come and save her for years. When Alex couldn't find the person she was hoping for, the bureaucrat found it funny.
Gordon Freeman?
Gordon Freeman. Miss Vance, you wouldn't need all that to imprison Gordon Freeman.
So, who are you?
Perhaps what I am is not as important as what I can offer you in exchange for coming all this way. Some believe the fate of our worlds is inflexible. My employers disagree. They authorize me to nudge things in a particular direction from time to time. What would you want nudged, Miss Vance?
The Combine off Earth. I want the Combine off Earth.
That would be a considerably large nudge. Too large, given the interests of my employers. What if I could offer you something you don't know you want?
Tell me, Dr. Freeman, if you can. You have destroyed so much. What is it exactly that you have created? Can you name even one thing? Look, Gordon. Look at what you are throwing away. Is it worth it?
Freeman was an important figure in the bureaucrat's plan. Just like Alex, He was someone who had to take part in the chain of possibilities that the mysterious figure had constructed in his mind. It was 20 years after the Black Mesa accident and 5 years after Alex's adventure. Freeman was awakened from his deep sleep on a train to City 17.
Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine. Not that I wish to imply you have been sleeping on the job. No one is more deserving of a rest, and all the effort in the world would have gone to waste until... well, let's just say your hour has come again. The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world. So wake up, Mr. Freeman. Wake up and smell the ashes.
Welcome to City 17. You have chosen or been chosen to relocate.
Freeman was separated from other civilians during the custom screening and was taken to a different room for identification. It was Barney Calhoun, who had infiltrated the Civil Protection Force, who pulled Freeman aside. Barney and Freeman contacted Cl3nr in the Civil Protection Force's interrogation room. Surprised by the return of Freeman, Cl3nr invited him to his secret laboratory in City 17. On his journey to reach Cl3nr, Freeman witnessed the torment of the New World Order and people. When Freeman approached the secret lab, he encountered Alex. Alex guided Freeman to get to the lab. Barney joined them shortly after they had reached their destination. Cl3nr was trying to develop a device in the lab to teleport civilians to Black Mesa East outside the city. For the first time after the death of his old cat, he would test the device on a human. They contacted Black Mesa East. Eli Vance was surprised to see Freeman. It was gratifying that one of the former Black Mesa rosters joined them. They teleported Alex first with the teleportation device. Teleporting was successful. Alex reached Black Mesa East in the blink of an eye. During Freeman's teleportation, Cl3nr's pet Lamar jumped into the machine and caused some interdimensional problems. Cl3nr turned off the device when Freeman was teleported near the secret lab. Lamar had broke the whole plan, and Freeman had to go to Black Mesa East the old way, using the stations in the water channels. Freeman picked up a makeshift vehicle from one of the stations and continued on this vehicle for a while, arriving at Black Mesa East. Freeman met Dr. Judith Mossman for the first time. He reunited with Eli and Alex. He spent some time at the Black Mesa East. Shortly after, Black Mesa East was discovered by the Combine. In the East, the largest research center of the Resistance, was attacked by air. Alex and Freeman's paths parted, and Freeman left Black Mesa East by a tunnel to a location Alex didn't want to talk about much. At the end of the tunnel, Freeman realized why Alex didn't want to talk about it. The tunnel reached the ghost town of Ravenholm. Freeman once again witnessed the brutality of the Combine. Father Grigory was the only person living in town. He had set traps all over the town and was trying to survive in Ravenholm. Grigory, who had psychological problems, saw no reason to leave Ravenholm. He referred to townspeople captured by parasites as his congregation. He helped Freeman cross the town, but he did not leave Ravenholm. Freeman arrived at a small resistance base after a while and learned that Eli Vance was captured by the Combine and taken to Nova Prospect after the Black Mesa East raid. He traveled for a while on the road occupied by the Antlions and met Colonel Odessa, one of the resistance commanders. Then he arrived at the lighthouse point. He supported and fought with the rebels under fire along his way. Arriving at Nova Prospect, Freeman encountered Alex at the train depot, who had gone a long way to save her father. They soon learned that Dr. Judith Mossman was a double-sided Combine spy. Before Freeman and Alex could rescue Eli Vance, They were sent back to Cl3nr's lab by Judith Mossman with a Combine's teleport device. But the Combine's teleport device was in prototype state. He had pushed Freeman and Alex forward, not only in space, but also in time. They were not only teleported to the Cl3nr lab, but also a week ahead. At the same time, as the device was a prototype, it exploded immediately after teleporting and blew up the entire Nova Prospect. Along with this, the destruction of the Combine's largest prison was perceived as a message by resistance soldiers and urban civilians and led to an uprising against the Combine. The Resistance and the Combine were in hot conflict, and City 17 had turned into a battlefield. Both civilians, resistance soldiers, Vortigons, and even some Civil Force soldiers had risen for freedom on the side of humanity. For a long time, Freeman supported the City 17 resistance under Barney's command. Alex, on the other hand, was captured by the Combine. The uprising, which started from the outskirts of the city, soon progressed to the center and turned into an urban war. Thumpers around the city were inactivated by the rebels, and the Antlines were allowed to enter the city. In City 17, order had completely collapsed. There was complete chaos. Freeman made his way to the Citadel. He sneaked in. He witnessed the darkness of the war factory. Rushing through the Citadel, Freeman climbed upstairs and finally reached Breen's office. Breen and Mossman were chatting with Eli and Alex. Breen wanted to pass Eli Vance through the portal and deliver the information he knew about interdimensional material transfer to the Combine. Mossman released Breen's prisoners, regretting his past actions. Seeing that Eli, Alex, and Gordon were freed, the Combine spokesperson fled quickly to convey the story to an advisor. As soon as Breen contacted the advisor, Alex and Freeman caught up with him. Breen was trying to open a portal to escape to the overworld. Learning this, the pair destroyed the dark energy reactor, the energy source of the Combine teleportation technology. But the reactor was much more powerful than Freeman had anticipated. A powerful explosion occurred as Breen was about to escape from the portal.
Come on, Gordon. We've got to get out of here. Maybe we still have to...
Time, Dr. Freeman? Is it really that time again? It seems as if you only just arrived. You've done a great deal in a small time span. You've done so well, in fact, that I've received some interesting offers for your services. Ordinarily, I wouldn't contemplate them, but these are extraordinary times. Rather than offer you the illusion of free choice, I will take the liberty of choosing for you, if and when your time comes round again. I do apologize for what must seem to you an arbitrary imposition, Dr. Freeman. I trust it will all make sense to you in the course of... well, I'm really not at liberty to say. In the meantime, this is where I get off.
Before the switch of time closed for Freeman, a group of Vortigons appeared and saved Freeman from the bureaucrat's space.
We'll see about that.
Fellow citizens, residents of City 17 and environs, by which I mean sentient residents, of course, human and otherwise, although I believe there is little need to explain recent developments to our Vortigaunt allies. At any rate, first, as a matter of great urgency, if you find yourself still within the confines of City 17, you are well advised to leave the city at once by the fastest means available to you. We have restored service to much of the commuter transport system in order to carry citizens out of the city as quickly as possible. We have also established camps and triage areas in the surrounding environs. I repeat, you must evacuate the city at once. While there was certainly a great benefit in destroying the Citadel's teleport core, we have detected one rather unfortunate side effect. It would appear an inevitability that very soon now the Citadel will be consumed in a destructive event whose magnitude I cannot currently estimate with any certainty, except to say that it will almost certainly irradiate an area of many miles radius. Therefore, I repeat, evacuate City 17 at once, if not sooner. I cannot state this without enough undue emphasis.
Alex was rescued from the explosion by the Vortigans like Freeman. Finding themselves on the outskirts of the Citadel, the duo communicated with Eli and Cl3nr on a portable monitor. Cl3nr said that the Citadel will explode again soon, and that explosion will make City 17 a thing of the past. There was no time for neither the couple nor the surviving civilians to flee the city. Cl3nr told them that if they were able to slow down the dark energy reactors melting by re-entering the Citadel, they could gain time to escape. Freeman and Alex immersed themselves in the dark architecture of the Citadel one last time. After traveling through the castle to reach the reactor, the two captured the recording of Dr. Breen's last conversation with the advisor. After the uprising, Breen told an advisor that there was still hope for Earth rule, and that he could fix all this, provided they save him. Wanting to escape the uprising, Breen wanted to be teleported to the outside world, to the overworld, via portal. Since it did not have an atmosphere that human beings could live in, he reluctantly accepted the need to leave his biological body behind and transfer himself to a new mechanical body. After watching the entire conversation, the two were then subjected to the psychic outburst of an advisor, carried through a tube. As the Citadel was going to blow up, the advisor had begun to leave the tower with transport capsules. Freeman managed to delay the explosion by reactivating the containment system of the reactor. Alex realized that the Combine was trying to send a final message to the other Combine forces in the outside world with the Citadel explosion. This was a video message, speaking from a snowy and cold climate in the north of City 17. Mossman was transmitting the knowledge of a new discovery. In the video recording, Mossman said that she had found a high technology with her team, and she stopped the video recording with the Combine's attack on the base. Duo recorded the document they found to forward to the resistance team and quickly left the Citadel. Arriving in the city center, Freeman and Alex witnessed the destruction left over from the war. All the buildings went down to the ground. The squares were filled with the corpses of civilians and the Combine. Zen creatures were wandering around. Dr. Cl3nr had taken over the monitors Breen used to speak from and was addressing the rebels. The hot clash between the Combine forces and resistance team was still going on. Freeman and Alex arrived at the station to escape the city. There, they met with Barney, the leader of the military branch of the resistance. They took all the people staying in the city on the trains, one by one, and ensured their transport. When the whole city was empty, they got on the last train and moved away from the 17th city. Of course, whatever was left of it. Moving away from the city, the two witnessed the advisors escaping like bugs in the final moments of the Citadel. The last of them were now fleeing the castle. Then there was a big explosion, and the shockwave from the explosion derailed the train. The duo survived the debris. They climbed a high hill and witnessed the destruction of City 17. The capital was destroyed. City 17 was erased from history. But the super portal was still open, albeit sporadically. Portal storms started to happen again. All resistance structures, both inside and outside the city, were destroyed. Only the White Forest, led by Dr. Magnusson, remained. Eli and Cl3nr had also gone there. Alex and Freeman contacted White Forest at the earliest opportunity. Cl3nr and Eli were delighted that the two were alive. Magnusson, on the other hand, was eagerly awaiting the message the two were carrying. Alex was seriously injured by a hunter shortly after, and Voltigons came to their rescue. They transported Alex to a small resistance post set up in a mine. Alex's recovery took a long time. The Vortigons were doing their best, but Alex was severely injured. Meanwhile, the bureaucrat reconnected with Freeman in a land devoid of time and space.
Dr. Freeman, I realize this moment may not be the most convenient for a heart-to-heart, but I had to wait until your friends were otherwise occupied. There was a time they cared nothing for Miss Vance, when their only experience of humanity was a crowbar coming at them down a steel corridor. When I plucked her from Black Mesa, I acted in the face of objections that she was a mere child and of no practical use to anyone. I have learned to ignore such naysayers when quelling them was out of the question. Still, I am not one to squander my investments, and I remain confident she was worth far more than the initial appraisal. That's why I must now extract from you some small repayment owed for your own survival. See her safely to White Forest, Dr. Freeman. I wish I could do more than keep an eye on you, but I have agreed to abide by certain restrictions. Well, now, listen carefully, my dear. When you see your father, relay these words. Prepare for unforeseen consequences.
Alex and Freeman hit the road again. The advisors, who managed to escape from the Citadel, were guarded by convoys and headed towards the White Forest, the last major base of resistance. Seeing the convoy, Freeman and Alex went to the nearest radio tower to inform the White Forest of the coming of Combine attack. But when they reached the radio tower, the advisors cut off their communication with the White Forest. Wanting to reach the White Forest before the Combine, the two accelerated their progress, but they could not catch up on time. Upon arrival in the White Forest, the base was under Combine attack. The two met again with Eli Vance and Cl3nr. They delivered the communication package they brought from the Citadel. Freeman learned that Magnusson was preparing a rocket to close the super portal that remained from the Citadel. The aim of the professor was to completely disconnect the Combine from the Earth and put an end to the portal storms by closing the super portal. As the rebels repulsed the Combine attack, the team watched the Mossman's message the duo brought. They learned that the project Mossman found at the pole was Borealis, an aperture science ship set to carry powerful technology. Although Cl3nr wanted to use the technology in Borealis against Combine, Eli Vance wanted this technology to be destroyed and feared a new Black Mesa incident would occur. To make the final preparations for the launch of the rocket, Eli, his daughter Alex, and Freeman had the opportunity for a short chat.
Dad, prepare for unforeseen consequences. Dad! Okay.
Not again.
It's okay.
No,
Just
I can't let it happen again.
Let's get you off your feet.
Not another Black Mesa.
Dad, are you okay?
I'll be fine in a minute or two. Thank you, baby. Actually, Alex, would you
would you mind getting me a cup of tea? There's a hot plate in the old staff room.
Sure thing.
Unforeseen consequences. The last time I heard those words was back at Black Mesa. You had just stepped into the test chamber when he whispered them in my ear.
Prepare for unforeseen consequences.
You know who I'm talking about. Our mutual friend. When he brought in that crystal, I knew I should have aborted that damn test, but I didn't. The whole world went to hell that day. And now he's using my little girl, putting words in her mouth. God damn it. I should have known when he rescued her it was for his own damn reasons.
The rocket which would destroy all doors to other dimensions took off from the White Forest. Wanting to watch humanity's small triumph over the Combine, the team went out. After the explosion, the portal was closed. Combine was prevented from summoning reinforcements from their own universes. Before they could enjoy their victories, they were attacked by the Advisors. Using their telepathic powers to immobilize Alex and Freeman, the Advisors have captured Eli. Just before he died, Eli warned the duo about Borealis' destruction once again and told his daughter that he loved her. Although Doc came and rescued Gordon and Alex,
it was too late for Eli Vance.
Oh my god. No. Oh my god.
He and his species were unbound by time and space. A sinister interdimensional bureaucrat, he appeared to humanity in the silhouette of a bureaucrat in a suit. Having colonized countless universes, the Combine was such a great civilization compared to humanity that the human mind could not perceive the purpose of the Combine. Human intelligence was indistinguishable from that of a primitive reptile compared to the Combine. However, these two civilizations had fought a war for teleportation technology, small according to Combine, but big enough to uproot thousands of years of civilization according to humanity. While human beings were able to transfer matter inside the universe, albeit primitively using xenium, Combine was able to transport between universes with massive dark energy reactors. However, this mysterious bureaucrat belonged to such a civilization that he could travel through time and space without wasting any energy thanks to the briefcase he carried. His job was to position people in the right place at the right times, so that the possibilities went in the direction his employers desired. He was creating reasons to get the results he wanted. For this character, who was at a level to see time and space as a whole, a lived and finished template, the entire universe was just a chessboard. Making the right moves at the right time brought him desired results. In other words, the concept of time which the Combine and the humankind grappled with was like a stencil drawn on the blackboard for the bureaucrat. He was erasing and redrawing what he didn't like. He saw the Combine as a threat to his employers and himself. It was he who gave the very crystal that unleashed the Combine upon humanity. Did he think there was a possibility that humans could beat the Combine? He shouldn't be so sure about that, because it was he who rescued Freeman from Black Mesa and left him years later into the Combine rule. The Citadel would still be in place without Freeman. He was not only guiding the possibilities, but also observing the chain events he created at any time and place. After the events at Black Mesa, his employers had seen great potential in Freeman and ordered him to be rescued from the explosion. But the bureaucrat disagreed with his employers. He thought Freeman was disobedient and unruly. That's why the sinister bureaucrat secured his plans and saved Alex from Black Mesa too. His employers were very angry with this situation, because the bureaucrat did not have the authority to change the possibilities, except for the orders given to him. The slightest wrong decision he'd made in the past could damage the whole plan they made in the future through the chain reactions. But the bureaucrat saved Alex despite all the arguments he had with his employers. This was his plan B. He did not find his employer's decision correct enough. He took the initiative by saving Alex. He turned out to be right. Everything went as they wanted until the Citadel was demolished. In the next step, they had to reposition Freeman where he should be in the future. But Freeman didn't listen. He escaped with the help of the Vortigons. At that point, their employers understood why the bureaucrat saved Alex too. Bureaucrat was trapped by the Combine after the Black Mesa explosion and waited for Alex to come and save him for 15 years. The little girl he rescued from Black Mesa, years later, freed him from captivity. Then he made a deal with Alex. His employers weren't happy with Freeman. Alex would be a much better pawn than Freeman. That's why he wanted to put Alex to sleep, just as he did with Freeman, devoid of time and space. When the right time came, the switches would be flipped for Alex, and she would do what had to be done.
What if I could offer you something you don't know you want? We are in the future. This is the moment where you watch your father die.
Don't leave me. Don't leave me.
Unless... Release your father, Miss Vance. Good. As a consequence of your action, this entity will continue, and this entity will not.
So he's okay, right? He lives. My dad lives.
You are aware that you've proven yourself to be of extraordinary value. A previous hire has been unable or unwilling to perform the tasks laid before him. We have struggled to find a suitable replacement until now.
No! I just want to go home. Send me home!
I'm afraid you misunderstand the situation, Miss Vance.
To avoid the odds, the bureaucrat took Alex out of time the moment her father died. Now, the Freeman's main goal was to go after the bureaucrat.
Gordon! Gordon! Wake up, Gordon! She's gone, Gordon. She's gone. Son of a bitch and his unforeseen consequences. I knew it. When I get my hands on him, I'm gonna kill him. Sound. Come on, Gordon. We got work to do.
But what was the ultimate goal of that mysterious bureaucrat and his employers, who had brought all this upon the creatures of Zen, the Combine, and humankind?
That is a question with a multitude.
We now have direct confirmation of a disruptor in our midst, one who has acquired an almost messianic reputation in the minds of certain citizens. His figure is synonymous with the darkest urges of instinct, ignorance, and decay. Some of the worst excesses of the Black Mesa incident have been laid directly at his feet. And yet unsophisticated minds continue to imbue him with romantic power, giving him such dangerous poetic labels as the one free man, the opener of the way. Let me remind all citizens of the dangers of magical thinking. We have scarcely begun to climb from the dark pit of our species' evolution. Let us not slide backward into oblivion, just as we have finally begun to see the light. If you see this so-called free man, report him. Civic deeds do not go unrewarded, and contrariwise, complicity with his cause will not go unpunished. Be wise. Be safe. Be aware.